Mr. Ross, you want to run through your report for us?
Thank you. Well, I'm going to give up my time for kind of a special report. We've talked a lot about our preparation this year for all-day kindergarten, but as you all know, there's a lot of education that occurs before our students even get to kindergarten, and early learning is really a critical aspect of a student's education. And I wanted to bring up our Director of Special Education, Ellen Wiesner, and
Yes.
I'll let her introduce who she's bringing with her to talk a little bit about our early learning efforts in the battleground schools.
Hi there, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to have a little bit of time to talk about a subject and a project that I'm very passionate about and very excited to bring to you. And with me today is Leslie Shine. She is one of our preschool special education teachers, and she has also been instrumental in getting this project off the ground. So you all have, I believe, a flyer that looks like the one that's projected up above. It's got some great colors. You all have it, right?
You don't have that.
No.
You don't have it. Julie, I gave them to Julie this morning. Are they on the table back there? I have a few extras. We can share. That's an important topic in early childhood.
Sharing.
Is sharing.
Sharing. I'll share one.
Okay. And then I've got. Okay. So, I mentioned this is a project that we've been working on for a long time. We have this mandate in special education to provide services to kids with disabilities in the least restrictive environment. So when you look at K-12, we want to make sure that kids who are on IEPs are getting access to the general education, to the curriculum, to the classroom, that we're providing those services as close as we can to the general education program. Well, that mandate is also in early childhood. We have about between 100 and 200 kids that we serve from 3 to 5-year-olds. And it's an interesting challenge because we don't have any kind of universal preschool out there. There's no preschool, no early childhood that all kids can just easily access. So we have to get very creative in how we do this. And what it's largely come to is we offer a lot of segregated preschool programs for students who are on IEPs only. That's what we've done. And like I said, it's a challenge. How do you do this when you don't have other programs that are just readily available to children 3 to 5? And the other thing is, the reason why we want to do that is there is a lot of evidence that kids with disabilities, when they're with kids who are typically developing, they progress at a faster rate, that they make a lot of progress in the areas of social emotional behavior, in cognition, in communication. And those 3 areas are the main areas that kids 3 to 5 qualify for. So it's very important. We also know that there's no level of severity of that disability that prevents the progress. If that is a severe level of disability, they're just as likely to make progress in an early childhood environment than not. Actually, they're more likely to make progress in an early childhood environment compared to an environment that they're segregated. And then the other thing is there's some really interesting studies that link having a friend in preschool to later effects well beyond preschool, well beyond high school even. So there are some studies that actually show that having a friend in preschool means a greater chance of employment, a greater chance of avoiding drug and alcohol use. It's very interesting. So that's why this is really important for us, is to look for ways that we can do inclusive preschool for kids with disabilities. We've been trying to do this for a number of years. We've had a couple of jump starts that didn't quite work out. So a couple of years ago, we had to take a step back and re-examine what we were doing and why what we had attempted wasn't working. So at that point, a couple things presented themselves. One was that Leslie was in the district, and there was an opportunity to have Leslie full-time teaching in a special ed classroom half time, and then the other half of her day really working on establishing relationships with some of the early learning providers in our area. And there's two in particular that have been great partners for us. One is the ESD, and the other is EOCF, which is Educational Opportunities for Children and Families. Those are two organizations that provide preschool services to a large number of children. And the reason why those two organizations in particular were important to us was because they had a number of quality indicators built into their system. So on the flyer you can see those quality indicators. Those are nationally recognized indicators of a quality early childhood program. They're things about appropriate curriculum, appropriate assessment, the student to child, or the child to teacher ratio. What else do we have on there? I don't have my flyer. Professional development. Those are things that are very important to have. And so if we're going to partner with somebody, we need to be able to say that that's a quality partner. They offer a quality program for us to partner with. And both the ESD and EOCF's programs were able to do that. Now at the same time, we're also doing a lot of work within our preschool department so that our preschool teachers in their special ed programs were also had access to some of this curriculum. We changed our assessment system. We looked at professional development. We established a professional learning community within our preschool team. So we were doing some things side by side. The bottom line is, through our work with developing that partnership, both ESD and EOCF approached us about wanting to do a blended preschool program. And it just so happened this year that EOCF was the organization, things were just ready to go. And that's what this preschool program is. And I was neglectful in that I didn't put the address down. So this is located at just off of 199th on the property of the United Methodist Church. Do you all know where that is? Just like a block over from Firm Foundation School. It's this beautiful portable, and it's a beautiful size. It has a great classroom size, it has a kitchen, and it has a wonderful office space. So we have 2 sessions that we're running, and they're blended classrooms. So what that means is that we have kids who qualify either Head Start or ECAP. There are 2 different programs. One's a federal funded program, one's a state funded program, and they are both based on the income level of the family to attend. So there are 10 students from that side, and then we have 9 students from our side. So altogether there's 19 kids in the classroom. There are 2 teachers from the EOCF side, and then there's Leslie, so there's 3 teachers in the room, and then we even have 2 paras in the room, 2 special education assistants. So it has a wonderful teacher-student ratio. So we meet that part of the indicators. They're both familiar with the curriculum, same curriculum that's used, same assessment systems that are used. We have session on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday is set for the teachers. So collaboration is a huge part of this. They are able to collaborate in the morning, align their lesson plans, talk about the kids, have meetings with the families. That is there for Wednesday. So it's a huge thing to be doing this. We have a program similar to this at Prairie High School. That's our partnership with CTE, and very similar, just a couple, this one's just has a few other elements to it. The kids go a little bit longer in the morning. We've never played around with how long is it, 3.5? 3.5 hours. Our typical preschool sessions are 2.5, so we're playing around with that. Our kids are part of the breakfast and lunch program. We've never served food before, so that is just another opportunity to enrich their learning and progress. I've been doing a lot of talking. I'm just going to turn it over to Leslie for a few seconds to make a couple comments about what she's noticed since starting this.
It's been wonderful to see. I think the best part has been, since I've worked with this program for the last 2 years, that I know some of their students that are returning students, so seeing the growth in their students, as well as the opportunities that my students get in that classroom has been awesome. It's awesome to have those peer models and to have the students helping the students instead of the teachers modeling those behaviors. They get to see that from other students. They get help from other students instead of it always being an adult teaching that lesson. And so it's been great to see progress on both sides.
So we're very excited. We're just really pleased with the relationship that we have with EOCF. There was a lot of thought that went into the teachers that would be in this program. You can't just ask anybody to, share a classroom and kids. So there was a lot of intention. They've been very generous with us, like with the lunch and the breakfast. We help pay with the utilities for the site, but it's a really good deal. It's a beautiful site. So I would also throw out, if you ever want to come by on one of your tours, just let me know. We'll make arrangements for that. And I also think about the future. This is, again, I feel we're in a much better position than we have when we've done this before. We have partners who are very invested in working with us. So this is just all the right things have come together. And it lends itself well to programs similar to this for the future. I know ESD still calls me a lot and saying, can we do something? And we just haven't found the right location and place for that, but it's all there ready to happen.
How do you get your students?
How do we get our students? That's a really good question. So the Head Start and the ECAP slots are full, right?
Yeah, they get their students just from referral-based. Parents call, and it's based on income and risk factors. So they look at family risk, like if our family is homeless or if a child has experienced abuse or things like that. So they look at the risk factors of the children and then qualify their children on that. And then we get our children from either birth to 3, so ESD provides 0 to 3 services for kids on IEPs. And so as soon as those children turn 3, they come into the school district and we evaluate and see if they qualify for school district-based services, or we screen 5 times a year right here at Louisville, and families can sign up for those screenings, and that's where we get our referrals from the district.
And there is no charge to the parent?
Not at all.
No. Free preschool.
Are these 2 sessions, is that 2 different groups of kids?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, is there a difference? I see there's a difference in time in how long they're there.
Yeah.
Is that because of what they would need? Are they grouped that way? Or?
So that's a really question. No, that is just how it is at the moment. And partly it's from the funding that comes from both for Head Start and for ECAP. So, and I can't really get into the particulars of that. They both draw funding different places, and that allows them to have a certain length of session. So we just mirrored what they were doing. So they have that long session in the morning. That's for kids who qualify for Head Start. So we went with that. Okay, we'll try that. The afternoon session is shorter. And actually, that session for the ECAP is only 3 days a week. We added an extra session just to give kids one more chance. And I think there was some logistics also with
Yeah,
that
their
one,
schedule
making
is
it.
3 hours, but I think part of it was just our contract day as teachers, having that time, having that prep time, and having that break time, having that in our schedule was figuring that out.
So there's some fun logistics to work out with all of this.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So there's 19 in the program.
Yeah.
Is that, so there's 10 in one and 9 in another session, or is that 19?
No, 19 in each
Yes.
session.
Each session, so
Yes.
really it's double that amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is
Yeah.
that capacity 19 per session? Okay.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. So we both, I mean, it mirrors our contract language for the preschool teachers, and Head Start and ECAP, they can only have so many kids in the session with their ratio.
Right.
So it mirrors it really well. The other thing to keep in mind is we want to make sure it's at least 50-50.
Yeah.
50 of the kids on IEPs, 50 not. In fact, it's better if there's more typically developing kids than there are not. That's kind of obvious, but yeah.
And is transportation provided for these kids?
Well, on our end, yes. So the special education students do get transportation. Transportation has been wonderful to work with as we figured this out because we're drawing from a huge area. So it is from our end. The students that are enrolled through the Head Start or ECAP, the parents have to provide their transportation.
Is the district paying for that transportation?
Yes, we do for all our preschool students are transported
Okay.
because there's no general transportation for preschool students because there's no universal preschool. Not that I'm in favor of that. It is kind of my little passionate issue. Yeah. Any other questions? Gonna invite you to come out. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Water.
I just want to tell the board and our superintendents, and I know she'll kick me later for saying this, but Ellen is very modest in the work that she has done for this. She is a true leader in this area for our district. The time and effort she put in to make this happen was incredible. From negotiating the contract, from working with the facility, to putting together the people, to finding the curriculum, to putting together the memorandum of understanding, all of that stuff. And it certainly is a credit to her, and I don't think that people understand that we even provide this service. So the opportunity to present to you tonight is certainly important, and I just want to say again the amount of work that, and she handles, I will tell you, I touch none of it. So Ellen handles the preschool aspect for us entirely on her own, and is deserving of that recognition and the work she does.